Masquera saying Zimbabwe, welcome to our channel Zoom Confessions and Deep Secrets. Kana kake kutanga kukuepa neno channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Kana chuoka roka subscriber, don't forget to comment and share this video. Masquera Zimbabwe tafigirai nyaya yaburitswa ne the Southern Defenders, a Southern African Human Rights Defender Network, a big organization, mirira my human rights in the Southern African countries. Yes, Zimbabwe, Babuda send a message kuma Sadc leaders of Zimbabwe and from every Sadc country. This message about the suppression in human rights in Zimbabwe ahead of the Sadc summit. In a letter, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation Department in South Africa addresswa kuna Honorable Lamola Yabuda contains of a suppression of civic space ahead of the Sadc Heads of State and Government Summit in Harare, Zimbabwe. As you can see, we are writing to express grave concerns regarding the worrying trend of suppression of civic space, arrest of opposition members, and threats against dissenting views in Zimbabwe ahead of the 44th Ordinary Summit of Heads State and Government of the Southern African Development Community, scheduled to take place on 17 August in Harare, Zimbabwe. This crackdown includes the arbitrary detention of approximately 165 people, comprising members of the opposition, activists, and human rights defenders, some of whom have allegedly been subjected to torture and other ill treatment. Those arrested are being charged with disorderly conduct in public space and other charges under Chapter 4 of Zimbabwe's Criminal Codification Act on assumptions that they were planning to protest ahead of the Sadc summit. One person was charged with public violence for participating in an anti-government protest 5 years ago in January 2019 anti-government protests. We urge you and your government to call on government of Zimbabwe to immediately and unconditionally release those arrested simply for exercising their rights, as their continued arbitrary detention is in violation of their rights to freedom of expression, association, and peaceful assembly and liberty. The crackdown began on 16 June, targeting 78 members of the Citizens Coalition for Change while they were celebrating an International Day of the African Child at a private residence. The police arrested and arbitrarily detained 78 people, including Citizens Coalition for Change interim party leader James Timber. During their arrest, the police used baton sticks and fired tear gas at the group, resulting in injuries, including an extensive injury to one member which required surgery. On 17 June, the 78 people were charged with gathering with intent to promote public violence and disorderly conduct and held for over 48 hours in custody before appearing before a court on 18 June. Violation of the country's Section 50 of Zimbabwe's Constitution and the Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act, which states that any person who is arrested or detained must be brought before a court as soon as possible, and in any event not even later than 48 hours after the arrest took place or detention began. 78 people were originally arrested and remanded. However, 2 children have since been released and 1 person granted bail. On 27 June, the group were denied bail on the grounds that they will commit similar offenses if released. On 17 July, the bail application of the 75 people, including a mother and their 1-year-old baby, was dismissed by the High Court. The arrest and arbitrary detention of the activists is deeply concerned and a violation of Zimbabwe's constitutional and international human rights obligations, including under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, to which the country is a state party. Those in government and the ruling party have issued threats against people who want to protest ahead of the SADC summit. On June 27, while addressing the ZANU-PF Central Committee, President Mnangagwa warned against rogue elements in the form of opposition political parties bent on peddling falsehoods and instigating acts of civil disorder, especially before, during, and after regional and world state events, and said such acts will be dealt with decisively. On 28 June, the Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Minister issued a statement warning against criminal and opportunistic elements within the opposition, certain politicians and some civil society organizations, and that law enforcement will apprehend those who undermine the justice delivery through causing chaos and mayhem. On 31 July, the presidential spokesperson accused Western aligned organization of subversion, saying these organizations seem to find willing partners within our country who previously had a brush with the law. It would appear they haven't learned their lesson. They should know that the government is not just willing, but is capable of delivering to them a lesson that is handsomely appropriate. It is treachery for a Zimbabwean to collude with a foreign organization in the hope of undermining the country's peace. It is worse when the government considers the organization hostile. On the same day, while addressing ZANU-PF supporters at the opening of Sabi lithium mine in Boera, the president warned anybody who may want to be nonsensical and bring chaos in this country, we are ready for any chaos, to deal with any chaos. Whoever will preach hate speech shall be responsible for their hate speech. Our prisons are not full. We want peace. We want unity. Those who do not agree with ZANU-PF do so quietly and peacefully. To date, approximately 165 people have been arrested, including opposition political party members, activists, and human rights defenders. On 29 June, 5 members of the National Democratic Working Group were arrested at a private residence in Kuwadzana, Harare, for holding an unsanctioned meeting. The group was having a meeting regarding the monthly monetary contribution to assist vulnerable and disadvantaged families. On 3 July, police arrested another 6 people with the Community Voices Zimbabwe Media Organization in the town of Gokwe in Zimbabwe's Midlands province. On 24 July, 44 Zinasu students, including their leader Emmanuel Sitima, were arrested during their General Council meeting. The activists were beaten before taken into custody and later released after being forced to pay admission of guilty fines for disorderly conduct. The students maintained that they committed no crime and will challenge their prosecution. He was rearrested again at Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport and charged with missing a court appearance on 2 August. A magistrate released and cancelled his arrest warrant on 3 August. On 31 July, activists including Namatai Kukweza, Robson Chere, Samuel Gwezi, and Vusumusi Moyo were forcibly removed from a plane and arrested by state agents. The 4 were held for hours without access to their lawyer. The leader of the Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe, Robson Chere, severely tortured during the detention. The activists have been charged with disorderly conduct for participating in a peaceful protest outside the Harare Magistrate Court, demanding the release of 76 CCC members who were appearing for a remand hearing during the court appearance on 2 August. Their lawyers told the court that they were tortured by individuals wearing airports Company of Zimbabwe badges and questioned about demonstrations planned during the SADC summit. The group have been denied bail, including Robson Chere, whose extensive injuries put him at risk of kidney failure and death if he does not receive adequate medical care at his chosen medical facility. On 1 August, Kariba Member of Parliament John Holton and 13 other individuals were arrested in Kariba town for staging a peaceful demonstration against the continued incarceration of opposition party leader Jameson Timber and 76 party activists. On the same day, Bruce Moyo, the councillor representing Ward 22 Nkulumani Bulawayo, was arrested by state agents for allegedly staging an anti-government protest demanding an end to one-party rule and for denouncing the arrest of CCC leader Jameson Timber and other Harare residents. He will remain in custody until a court appearance scheduled for 16 August. Bulawayo Senator Gideon Shoko was also arrested on the same day. On 2 August, several arrests took place, including Bishop Kevin Nyamakanga, who was arrested at his home in Harare for plotting to incite public violence during the Sadc summit. Jacob Ngarivome, the opposition transformation Zimbabwe political party leader, was arrested in Mutare and later transferred to Harare, where he was charged alongside Kelvin Gonde for participating in an unlawful gathering and disorderly conduct. 11 residents were also arrested in Mutare for allegedly gathering at a house of the accused of plotting to carry out acts of public violence meant to disturb the successful hosting of the Sadc summit. On 3 August, Brian Nyoni and Tinei Munetsi were arrested in separate incidents. Brian was taken into custody in Wange police station and interviewed by the police, who also confiscated his phone. He was released without charge for 2 hours while the police denied having him in custody. Tinei Munetsi was arrested and accused of having participated in January 2019 anti-government protest. Tinei contested the 2023 parliamentary elections. On 4 August, opposition MP Daniel Molokele and Councillor Ellen Zulu presented themselves to the Wange police station after being summoned by the Zimbabwe Public Police. They were allowed to leave 2 hours following questioning over allegations of mobilizing people to protest at the Sadc summit. The two denied these allegations and were warned against mobilizing people for protest and to fulfill their intentions within the law. We therefore Sadc member states to call on the government of Zimbabwe to immediately and unconditionally release all activists or opposition politicians and civil society members and students and drop all charges against them as they are detained solely for exercising their human rights. As Zimbabwe assume the position of Sadc chairperson, we also urge Sadc member states to prioritize peace and security in Zimbabwe and encourage the country to respect, protect, and fulfill the human rights to everyone in the country, including the rights to freedom of expression, association, and peaceful assembly. Those are Buddha the Southern Africa Human Rights Defenders Network muri Zimbabwe, the Southern Defenders. Tingaziva kuti munoona sei nyaya itudzo zvamunofunga pamusoro penyaya iyi mu comment section.